Well, obviously, last week was a tough week for us. As you look back at it, the glaring things are obviously just the way you start. We were excited about being at home, excited about a noon kind of kickoff to get up and play, and came out and really, flat both sides of the football. Just didn't get into the groove and into the flow of things, and next thing you know, you're down 21 points. But I guess as you look back and you say, okay, well, what do you learn from it? How do you grow from it? It was a big step in the program in character building and leadership building, but in adversity building too. And I think that's the positives that we walk away with, is that that halftime, the way the guys were at halftime, much different than what it was last year when we were down 24-7. This year we were down a few times like that last year at halftime. So to see the character inside that locker room, to see that confidence level, to come out the second half and give us an opportunity. You got to give a lot of credit to, obviously, to Desmond and that offense, and Michael Warren and Jay Sean Jackson and Rashad Medeiros, who made some big plays for us in the second half to generate that momentum that we just couldn't find in the first half. And then once you get it, the whole name of the game is finding a way to keep it. And so the name of the game in the second half was we scored touchdowns in the red zone, and we forced them to kick field goals. And there's the difference in the ball game. Yeah, we made a big goal line stop and those kinds of things at the end of the game, but the only way we had a chance to do that was that the offense could score touchdowns. Didn't settle for field goals, score touchdowns in the red zone, and then the defense, when not playing your best ball, find a way to force field goals when they get those situations, and then finding opportunities to opportunistic at making plays on some turnovers and things like that. So obviously a lot better feeling because of the way you finished and the outcome, but we really got to kind of take that hard look to say, hey, the things that we prided ourselves in wasn't what we saw, especially in that first half, and the tough and physical play that we want to be, and just didn't get it rolling to start the game. But that was last week. Now, obviously, the season really starts now, and that's what we've that'll be the message to our entire team, is the first week of conference play, and we go on the road. This is when the business really begins, and so we got a business trip to get prepared for this week. Obviously, a great opponent, and really the first 4 games are just kind of almost like preseason in some ways. Yes, it's a momentum, and yes, there's a lot of things developed, but you really got to be ready for conference play, and that's where we are right now.
You never really know about a young guy, especially a quarterback, how they're going to handle adversity. Have you been impressed with Dez and how he's kind of the maturity he's shown for a young guy?
Yeah, he hasn't been perfect. Nobody is. But his way of handling things and his confidence level, you knew it was there, but you can look at guys, and I don't want to compare to the NFL or anything like that, but you can look at young guys that get thrown into a situation if things don't happen well to start with, even, i.e., the first game, yeah, we won, but tough. The second game, yeah, we won, and we won 21-0, but a tough night for a quarterback to gain some confidence in things. But he's never wavered. And I just mean in his body language, his demeanor, and what the guys feel from around him. So I like where he is. I like where the mindset of what he does, but it doesn't go without a lot of other things that are involved in that, from him and his coach, his confidence in the guys around him in that room. His ability to lean on Hayden too, I think, has really helped Dez in a lot of situations.
Do you plan to use Michael Warren more now that conference plays?
How can you use him anymore? I guess we could have left him in one more play. I think maybe he was out, or maybe he was out 2 plays. We could have handed him the ball a couple more times. I don't know if you can use him anymore. I think the reality is, I say it every week, but we got to do a better job at finding ways earlier in the game to use the other guys. So, no, I don't think that we want to use Mike more. Obviously, if it comes down to crunch time, Mike's our horse. But I think we got to do a better job. We got to do a better job as coaches. We got to do a better job in that preparation, feeling confident with some of those young guys, and to use them a little bit earlier.
What's the situation with Dokes and Booz?
So Taylor Booz is back. Dokes, we don't know just yet. He's actually being reevaluated again today. We were hoping that this week would be his week to be back, but we'll find out a little bit more tonight. We're going to have him reevaluated and actually get another opinion just to see where he is with everything. We'll know a lot more after today. We'll know a lot more after today when they do the final another eval and stuff on him and look at it and you know, so maybe by the end of the week and, you know, by this game we'll know pretty much what probably his future holds for this year.
With Jarrell, switch sides, obviously, in a tough situation, had an up and down day. How big was it for him at the end to come through there?
Really big. I mean, those are kind of what players do when they can take the adversity from early in the game and use it as fuel, as opposed to shutting down and letting the emotions get the best of them that, you know, that happened maybe in that first few series of the game. So great players learn throughout the game, and I think the best ones I've ever had are the ones that, you know, when something happens, they're able to respond. When something happens once in a game, it doesn't happen to them a second time in a game, because they can process things, they understand what and the whys. And I'm not saying he's there yet, but for his ability to come back from a very tough situation, a tough first half, being in a new position, to have the confidence and to just pull the trigger, what he did on that play, and to make the play, you know, 4 yards deep in the backfield, it builds you a lot of trust in him. Not that he's going to do everything right, but that you know that, you know, when he sees something, he's going to react and respond, and that's all you can really ask of guys.
Did Ohio do anything specifically to take away Dez's running game, or was that more game plan on your guys?
No, I think that they do a really good job at edging things up. I mean, they play some wide nines. They were going to, you know, seal the edges and things like that. But again, we gotta do a better job at whatever they give you. You got to take advantage of. And I think it took us, you know, a little bit of time just to make sure that we could settle in to what we needed to do. Not that they were completely different, but every week somebody's going to give you something a little bit different, especially if you've had success and sometimes running the quarterback.
You mentioned the red zone before.
Sorry, Jim. Your offensive line is, I don't think they allowed a sack last week, for one thing. Just talk about them a little bit. Entering the season, at least to some outside your program, that was maybe going to be a big question mark.
And I'm sure it was. You know, coming into the year, there was some question for even us, and it wasn't a question of how good are we going to be. I thought we had the makings. We got the leadership and Garrett Campbell and some of those guys inside, the work ethic and the things that you want. To me, the biggest question was, where were they all going to fit, and who was going to be the best five? Where was that going to land Garrett? You know, because Garrett's probably most comfortable playing guard, when in reality for us and what we need him to do to be the center of the offense, we had to put him at center and to try to build a lot of those things around him. So I had a lot more confidence probably going into it just because of the way those guys have worked. Now, figuring out who was going to be where, could Dino fit in and be a starter? Could Chris Ferguson kind of mature along and develop, being that he didn't play a single snap last year, and really become a starter? Those are the things that I thought Coach Crook and those guys did a great job of through camp. Now, that being said, we didn't give up a sack, but it probably was the first time where I didn't see the true style of play that I'd seen in the first 3 weeks up front, and which is good. I mean, it gives us an opportunity to say, hey, how are we going to get better, and, you know, what are the things we need to do, so there isn't a complacency.
Starting to get votes for the top 25, starting to get some national momentum top of the team. Does that matter to you?
I live under a rock. I more worry about it for our kids than us, to be honest with you, because, like we've said before, is your ability to handle some of those positive things and some of those praise and some of that attention, you know, maybe affect us a little bit last week. You know, we didn't play really well, to be honest with you. We didn't come out the gate like we should have, and sometimes some of those things for the first time have an effect on you. I don't know if it really is. I tend not to listen to it, but I guess I got to do a better job, because if it's out there, I know that I got to make sure I got to address it with our team. We'll get what we deserve. I really truly believe that. I know that there's a talk with the league just because of last year with UCF and national champs, and they didn't get what they deserve because of the league. We'll all get what we deserve as long as we continue to take care of our stuff on the football field, and I truly believe that. And so the outside things I don't pay a ton of attention to. I try to keep our guys really focused on what we're doing so that we can find a way for us to be better, and at the end of the year, we'll have a chance to be somebody to talk about.
Talk about UConn a little bit, if you would. Again, most people see you guys winning this game. You know, they give up a ton of points.
Yeah. Well, you're on the road in your first conference game, and the season starts now. And yes, they've given up quite a few points, I think, but they've played some really good offensive football teams. You know, from UCF to Syracuse. Who? Yeah, but no, Syracuse, Boise State. I mean, and what's happened to them is it's happened really fast. So sometimes people look at that and say, oh, well, hey, they're not all that good. When in reality, you know, when things jump on you really quick, it's difficult. You know, and they've played some really good offensive football teams. You know, so I don't think they're nearly what people think they are. I mean, they got a dynamic quarterback that can make everybody around him better. And I'm not saying he's, you know, slinging the ball for 400 yards, but he has averaged over 100 and some yards on both the ground and in the air. And he is building momentum. He is not the same quarterback that we played last year. And I really, truly believe that. So whatever people think, whatever, you know, is out there, the reality is that this is the first conference game. It doesn't really matter if you want to consider the first 4 games preseason games because it's not conference play. But these guys, I truly believe they're a lot better than what they've shown because of some of the competition that they play. And I'm not saying Rhode Island is a great football team, don't get me wrong. But the other 3 teams they played are very good football teams. And sometimes when you fall behind on those situations, people quit looking at what they've even done offensively. And, you know, so I don't think that it's what people think. And really for us and a young team to go on the road, I know we went on the road at UCLA, but to go on the road in conference play, you know, that's what keeps me awake at night.
You talked last year about being a little surprised at the overall talent in the AAC. As you're going into year 2, does having a better understanding, a better grasp of that give you better preparation?
I mean, again, it's week to week. You know, I mean, yes, it does. Yes, I think it's more of that preparation for your summer plans, for your fall camp plans, because there's a lot of things you got to, you know, kind of script yourself around, and, you know, whether it's Navy, which everybody would talk about, but just the athleticism that you're going to see in the league, yeah. But from week to week, it's going to be more specific. I think that's one of the things that why we adjusted up how we play a little bit defensively, because of the league we're in, because of what we truly believe we need to do in the offseason to be successful. So it's helped us make some of those changes, but week to week there's a new challenge, and, you know, I'm not sitting here saying that they've got as much talent maybe as UCF, but when you've got one guy that gives you an opportunity to make everybody around you better, whether it's just your offense, that he can make your defense better too, with the confidence that he can generate if he gets on a roll. I think it posed a lot of issues for us.
Was there anything you saw on your end on second viewing that allowed Ohio to have some success in the run game, or was it more just that execution?
Yeah, it's a little bit of execution. I mean, I can't say that they didn't do a really good job. I mean, the frustration that settles in when the quarterback makes the plays that he does can get you out of your element, get you out of your game a little bit. And I can say that we got frustrated, we got flustered a little bit, and guys, you know, we start to maybe do things we wouldn't normally have done in the first 3 weeks, just because of the plays that they're making. You know, almost every touchdown there was a big play involved in it. Now, okay, Coach, usually all touchdowns have a big play in the series. Well, no, the first one was on a roughing the kicker, that they get the ball back. You talk about a momentum change. The next touchdown, they had a 3rd and 16, and they run a quarterback draw, just hoping to get 6 or 7 yards and get better field position to punt. And then from there, everybody's flustered and they go in to score. The other touchdown was, I think there was another 3rd and 12 that you know, we had him stopped up, and the quarterback does an unbelievable job of getting himself to a 4th and 1 where they can go for it and then score 2 plays later. And just that's the next step for us to be able to handle it as coaches and as players. When you have one of those momentum shifts like that on a situation where you pride yourself in, you know, being really good on 3rd down, and that happens, that's where we didn't respond real well.
You mentioned some of the penalties. What about those on second viewing? Do you have any thoughts of maybe some that you felt were unfair, or some things you?
No, you know, actually, to be honest with you, I'm not going to talk about them. It's past. I'm not going to lose any more sleep over it. The only thing I was disappointed in is the penalties that maybe weren't called. You know, there's a new rule with the cut rule in college football, and kind of really disappointed that in the first play of the game, I got one that I feel is really, you know, what we got rid of in football, and it didn't get called. So I just think that's something our league needs to make sure we address for the safety of our players, because it's not just the quarterback out there that needs to be protected. There are other guys in that field that need to be protected as well. And I think as a college football, as a whole, we got to make sure that we're not just protecting and focusing on the quarterback, but protecting everybody, because this is a great game, and we need to make sure that we continue to make it great.
What's going to be the message to the defense in trying to stop UConn's quarterback and goal?
Tackle, track. There's no special recipe. Oh, we're going to put 2 spies on him. No, you got to play ball. And if you get frustrated, you get flustered, if you stand back there and wait, he'll do what he did last year to us and dump the ball over our heads and make some plays like that. If you're running after him and out of control, then he's going to cut back on you and make some plays, which nobody's probably seen him go 75-yard against UCF and make everybody miss. And, about 4 or 5 times he probably went 25 or 30 yards and they still didn't tackle him. Now he went out of bounds. And I think he went 75 against Syracuse in the first or second quarter. He's going to have his plays. He's going to make some plays. We got to do a good job at not getting frustrated, not getting flustered, continuing to be aggressive, and being smart.
Decor had a big game on Saturday. Dan Brock's talking about the work he put in this offseason. It seems like that's showing up on the field.
He's done a great job of being able to be balanced for us. He can line up in line. He can flex out, be a wideout. He can come from behind in the backfield. He's got really good hands. He's very dependable in all phases of the game. Heck, he's our front side guy in the punt team, which tells you that you got the utmost confidence and respect in what he does and how he prepares and everything. And I don't think he's going to do anything but continue to get better. Last year, he didn't have that kind of confidence. He had ability, but didn't have that kind of confidence. And you're just, as things progress, as you have success, you see the confidence in a lot of people start to build, and he's one of them.
Feels like every time Ja'Shawn Jackson gets onto the field, something big happens. He's able to make a play. But you're solid in the slot with Medeiros. How do you manage trying to make?
We need to get him in there more. We need to get him an opportunity to make some more touches. Obviously it's a great play that he made, but if you really break it down and look at it, there's some really unique things that I don't think I've seen here since Jim Kelly was catching the ball, where he can actually catch it one-handed, switch the hand as he falls to the ground in order to protect it and still brace himself. There's some things. I'm not saying that Coach Joker doesn't teach it, but there's some really natural things, and that's what you start to see in some of these young guys, and you just got to find more and more ways to get them opportunities, to get them out there, to have a chance to make some plays.
How much does it speak to James Wiggins that he was able to decipher? He talked about knowing that was their primary guy, they were going to look to him, and being able to make that play.
The number one thing for last week's game was about recognition, and that your preparation to recognize so that you can anticipate what things are going to happen. I'm not saying we did a great job all day. We did a great job when the time called for it, and for him to recognize the alignments, the splits, and to have that in his head that this is their guy, I know exactly what they're trying to do. It's one thing of knowing it, and then it's another thing of being able to execute it. And, his maturity and his ability to prepare to recognize those kinds of things is what's given him an opportunity to be as aggressive as he is, even though he's very talented and gifted. It's the little things that are giving him a chance to make some of those plays.
You guys did well on White all game. I know you mentioned that was a point of emphasis. So I'm sure as a defensive-minded coach that you like seeing what we worked on in practice all week showed up.
It did. And again, that's not genius. That's also putting a really good player on him, too, in a lot of situations. So I think that those guys did a really good job at honing into doing the things that we asked them to do. I think he ended up with 2 catches for 24 yards or so. And, now we got to do a better job on some of the other guys. But nonetheless, that's, where the confidence in those guys, they got to build confidence in us, too. And I know it's been a year and a half, and so hopefully those bonds and things are creating. But also when they see, their ability to make plays and to play better and faster because of the things that we do on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I think it does nothing but enhance, the culture and what it is that we're preaching.
We have you have a Perry Young update?
Don't.
One quick question, it's kind of off topic. Big drum the offense has on the sidelines during the game. You might
I love it. I love it. don't even want to. Too often they take a lot of the emotion out of this game, whether it's because of the tempo of the game and the speed of the game, and you can't celebrate 40 seconds in college football now, so that you can't celebrate a touchdown. Well, you got to get back up there so that you can kick the ball off, well, so that they can have another commercial, but yet you can't celebrate. You know, we got a 15-yard penalty for Superman. I didn't know that was wrong. So the celebrations of things. So I think we got to find ways to continue to create energy, have guys have fun. It all was created because the defense started dunking the ball in spring football. You know, so they had a dunk anytime you got an interception. So then 2 days later, the wide receivers hit a drum back behind the tower, the film tower. And as soon as they scored a touchdown, all of a sudden they unveiled it, pulled it out, and it was kind of a joke and laughing. And it just, you know, it stayed there and it kept having it and kept having it. And so it's something that's not only great for game, it's created some energy in our practices and our competitions. I have not, but then again, I've never scored. So we are going to have a new rule, though, that if you score more than once, that you got to give the mallet to a big guy and let him hit it. So, all right, thanks.